Welcome to Forever Patriots, episode 2. I'm your host, CJ James. Back at it again for week 7 recap, week 8 preview. I'm here with a special guest. It's my guy, my brother. We've been covering the NFL since 2021, 2022. Longtime Patriot fans, been through the ups and the downs of this team, organization, shifts, new coaches, different quarterbacks after Brady. my guy Anthony Conover. What's going on, brother?
What's going on?
A co-host of Forever Patriots. My guy, man, what's good, brother?
Oh, I'm glad to be here, man. It's been a minute. Obviously, like you said, we were doing our little thing for a little bit. You know, life got busy, but we're up right now. Now the team is back. It's nice to have something to chat along with, and I'm excited to do it because, like I said, it's been a minute. Obviously, I loved doing the show. Me and you, it was always a fun time. So now to kind of, have something to focus on with the Pats instead of kind of being everywhere else. I'm sure that we'll talk about other stuff, but having that focus on our boys, our team. It's nice. Like you said, we were talking in the a little bit before this. Hey, all of our stuff is documented, all right. So we can't be hearing no bandwagon, nothing. That all of a sudden now the team's good. Now we come back. I don't want to hear nothing. So we're good now.
Yeah, it's impossible, honestly. So it's special times, just grateful. Without really getting into the game against the Titans, what have been your thoughts on the team in the first 7 weeks so far? Just a quick little glimpse.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, obviously they've looked good. And for the people that remember, what me and you used to do before, and maybe remember some of the things I said, I am just a slight pessimist. So while I am happy with the team and how everything's going, I can't help but look at the schedule and see the teams that we've played. Now, granted, listen, you play the teams that are on your schedule. Don't care. I didn't come up with it. The NFL did. So it's not my problem that the Patriots have a low strength of schedule. But listen, they did beat the Bills. So we're on to something there. But obviously excited. I think we got our guy in Drake Maye. Obviously, that whole Mac Jones, Cam Newton situation didn't work out very well. Bailey Zappi that everybody wanted. So listen, things are starting to work out for us. Got our guy in Drake Maye. Looked like we got some wide receiver help after last year. It kind of made me want to vomit profusely. Defense is looking solid. Vrabel is a coach. This is not last year with Mayo, who, listen, loved him on the team, hated him as a coach. So I think things are definitely pointing up and to the right.
It's grateful times. It's really, again, just the execution going from last year. Gerard Mayo just really didn't work out. Got to give credit to the Kraft family for pivoting off that after 1 year, really understanding that this is not going to work out. Seeing Mike Vrabel available, got to make that move, especially the success he had against the Patriots as the head coach of the Titans, eliminating us, pretty much ended the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era after helping Tom Brady and Bill Belichick win championships in the early 2000s, being a key factor. It was like that full circle moment. Now he comes back to New England as the head coach, bringing the IQ, identity. I think the difference is with Vrabel, unlike Belichick, is he relates to the players more because he's a former player, so he understands. So it's a mix of, he has different traits of great coaches, but he's still himself. hear what the players say and how they speak about him, and the coaching staff that he assembled. Doug Marrone as an offensive line. I mean, he was coaching as a head coach in the NFL in the AFC East against the Patriots. Now he's an offensive line coach for the Patriots. So just think about the experience that offensive line has had over these first few weeks, 7 weeks. Everything's been going pretty well. That's the schedule. Ultimately, the reason why the schedule was like that, it was because the Patriots were 4-13 last year. So when you have a bad record, the way their algorithm is, they try to give you, games that you should be competitive in against teams that had similar records that weren't that great, and you don't really know who's going to win. So that's really how they create the schedule off that, depending on what the record was before the season started.
So, you come in last place, you play other last place teams. That's how it is. How it's always been. So, like I said, we didn't make the schedule, but hell, if we can benefit from it, I ain't mad about it.
Exactly. All right, let's go right into week 7, Patriots versus Titans. What was your reaction?
I think, listen, this is just, let's start with this. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure everybody has seen it by now. But the stat that the Patriots have more wins this season than the Titans have since firing Mike Vrabel is unbelievable. That sounds like it was made up, because it should be. But I think this is one of the reasons you look at this game and you're confused as to how the Titans even came to that assumption that it was him when, you traded away Brown, who he didn't want to do. Derrick Henry leaves. He was bringing teams with Ryan Tannehill leading them to the playoffs. So the number 1 seed, I think they were one season. But I think that this was just great coaching. I think it was great execution. Listen, the first couple of drives, it kind of seemed like, okay, are the Patriots, taking this a little bit too lightly? We know what the Titans are. They're, 1-5 on the season. So obviously we know that they're not very good. Patriots are coming off of a great win against the Bills. Or was that the previous? Or was that the week before?
So Bills, Saints, Titans.
Saints. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So they play the Bills. You have the high of that. You go in, you beat the Saints, which you're supposed to do. And then you're also supposed to beat the Titans. But, you kind of get into that lull of, playing back-to-back bad teams. I think teams now look at the Patriots and actually expect things from them. Where previously, which sounds crazy because obviously we grew up in a time where they were just a continuous dynasty. But, these past few years you play the Patriots and it was kind of like, okay, well, that's a W on the schedule. But now teams are expecting things. And thankfully, it just doesn't seem to matter. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but Drake Maye's playing well. 8th in the league in touchdowns. I believe he's in the same spot for passing yards on the season. He's number 1 in completion percentage. He just set the Patriot all-time record in completion percentage in this past game. I think it was 95.2%, which is obviously unbelievable. But I think every facet of the game showed up in this one, because after those first couple of drives from the Titans where they had their points, you just never thought that they were going to get back into the game. And no matter who you're playing, or I shouldn't say no matter who, when you're playing bad teams, that's how games should go. I think that there's levels to wins in the NFL or in any sport, and people might not like it because, you always hear people say whether it's pretty or not, it doesn't matter. It's still a W at the end of the day. They can't take wins or losses away, whatever. I understand that. But do you feel better beating the Titans 31-13, or if we had to kick a game-winning field goal and win 16-13? Which one's going to make you feel better? And we're all going to be honest, it's the one that happened 31-13 this past week, because you took care of what you were supposed to do. I mean, you can look at, you can go to a different team. The Broncos beat the Jets in London last week. What was it, 13-11? It was some disgusting, terrible game. Awful. I mean, you listen to them talk about it. It's like they lost the game. That's how you should feel. Because when you play bad teams, you're supposed to make them look bad. You're not supposed to sink down to their level. And thankfully, the Patriots didn't do that. They came out a 31-13 win. You handled them very easily, obviously. And, you continue on from there and you continue to do this to teams you're supposed to do. Now, listen, are you going to have a letdown every once in a while? Is every team perfect? Listen, only one team's gone undefeated. We should have been the second one. But only one team's gone undefeated. So you're going to have those lows in the season. Listen, are they going to play a bad team, maybe only win by 3 or 6 points? And you're going to look back and say, wow, I thought that this team was a little bit better. They should have done this. They should have done that. I'm sure that's going to happen. But I think it's more important that games like this happen more often than not.
Patriots did exactly what they needed to do. Exactly what they needed to do on all 3 phases. Slow start, again, similar to the game against the Saints, where they gave up that deep pass to Rashid. Same thing that happened in the first quarter. Cam Ward got a big play, touchdown. And then after that, the defense just settled in. 0 points in the second half. Understanding that we're not about to let a rookie, have a great game against the defense, their defense. That's not how. It's impossible. That's their mindset. There's no way. So they're able to get pressure, get Cam Ward off his spot. Like, he's a mobile quarterback, but it's not like Lamar Jackson. And also he's trying to stay in the pocket and make plays. So what that's going to do is give the defensive line opportunities to get to the quarterback. Got big pressure. Kayshon. I mean, that was really the game changer. That really ended the game right there. With that strip sack from a recovery for a touchdown. That was the game. Tone setter, understanding before the half. 39-yard touchdown. Drake made a Kayshon Boutte. Said it when he got drafted. Should have got some opportunities to play. Took him a few years to get healthy, get right. The college tape it's crazy. You just go back and watch that. You go back and watch the LSU highlights. It was just as special as Jefferson Chase. I believe he's going to be that great. I see it. Catches everything. Third down. Like, all his catches create first downs. And that's wide receiver 1. That's literally what we're going to talk about that later. That's literally what wide receiver X's do. When you catch the ball, it creates first downs. You're literally moving the chains. So it's 23 years old with Maye and Boutte. It's going to be dangerous for years to come. They have the cap space. It was, that play is what we're going to see throughout the rest of the season, because their chemistry is going to continue to grow. Drake May's completion percentage down the field is the best in the league. We have a young phenom. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
it's his ability to be so poised in the pocket this early, not really phased, and be able to make throws down the field, roll out the pocket. We want him to slide a little bit more. That was just kind of it happens. It's football type play. Sometimes those plays are going to happen, but came out the game, went right back in, did what they needed to do. Led him down to a touchdown. That pass to Austin Hooper on a little corner route in the back of the end zone. Like, we have red zone threats, multiple red zone threats. You got Diggs, Hooper, Henry, Boutte, Douglas, Mac Hollins.
I mean, Drake May's a red zone threat. It's
amazing.
It's amazing what happens when you have a QB that, listen, I don't think I got to say I love Tom Brady, but, it's a big difference when, there's not a statue behind the offensive line. Like something breaks down, the play isn't over. I mean, and you saw that one of his, first starts in the NFL against the Titans last year at the end of that game. There's not a lot of quarterbacks in the league that are making that play that he made last year to send that game in overtime.
Yeah, that play. Yeah, that was really when I knew we had the one. The wide receiver room, the group, they're motivated because everyone says the casuals, the so-called experts, there's a reason why his completion percentage is that high. Receivers are also catching the football, and it's not like he's just checking it down every time. They're deep passes down the field. They're catching the football in traffic, contested. Mm-hmm. So when you continue to say it's a weak wide receiver group, but the quarterback leads the NFL in completion percentage, it's an oxymoron. Like you're contradicting yourself. So how could it be a weak wide receiver room if they're catching the football? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I mean, no matter how good you are as a quarterback, they're not getting open and they're not catching the ball. I mean, listen, you could have Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, whoever you want standing back there. If your wide receivers are me and you, their high, completion percentage isn't going to be very good.
Yeah, so it's just they'll get their respect as the season goes on. As the season goes on, Pop Douglas making that incredible one-handed catch on fourth down in the red zone. Those are momentum-changing plays in the red area. Like that means you're situationally, we can depend on you. You can depend on everybody. I'm not worried about anyone, right? Like as it stands right now, I'm not worried about anyone when it comes to catching the football on our team. Everyone they all catch everything. Like that catch for Austin Hooper, like there's not a lot of tight end twos that can make that catch in the NFL. Like he could be a starting tight end on plenty 10+ teams. And the fact that he's out tight end too, it makes us even dangerous. Seriously, because now you have both tight ends with him and Henry out there. You can run the ball. Now you got the illusion of the play action. Ramondre could just walk right in the end zone. Or Drake Maye off of RPO. You have so many threats. Do that off of play action. You have two legit red zone threats, 6'5+, in that short amount of space with his accuracy. We're gonna be dangerous for years to come, man. So just grateful. That's really what it is. It took about 4.5 years. Battle through. I got to give credit to that. Jets. I still got to give credit to Gerard Mayo. They could have drafted anyone at 3 last year. They could have shocked teams. We've seen situations where during the draft, teams were supposed to draft certain players and they didn't draft them. So I'm going to give Gerard Mayo also some credit. They came in there, felt like, listen, go get Drake Maye. They made that move. So it was a collaboration of everything to me. But right now, Mike Vrabel was the perfect coach for Maye because of the experience, because of what he's already accomplished in a Patriots uniform. It just makes everything better, more fluid. Josh McDaniels being there, just see the way they play, the way he's growing in this offense. McDaniels is able to, he could be more complex with the play calling because they're completing plays down the field and on an efficient level. So why wouldn't you? I can see more trick plays. Don't be surprised we see a few more trick plays. Get Marcus Jones out there. Marcus Jones, one of the best players in the league. Best players in the league, for sure.
Call that a utility player in the MLB.
Yeah, his versatility. Take a punt return for a touchdown. Got an interception in this game against the Titans. His leadership at that nickel back position. Secondary is shut down. Got 6'1" on each side of the field with Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. And then you have just a versatile. He's 5'8", but he plays much bigger than his height. He's able to make plays, get deflections, and he's a threat on the special teams as your nickel back. Everything is shut down. Linebackers are doing a much better job. Splain, Ellis, Gibbons, Mabu on third down situations, guarding tight ends. They've been improving. They've been able to get they missed some tackles earlier in the season, but they've done much better over this win streak. And it's really just trying to get a consistent pass rush. The interior on the D-line, locked down. With Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, it's locked down. I mean, you have to worry about both players, and they're disruptive right there in the middle of the pocket. You just need another edge rusher. They could be scary hours because everything is covered on the backside. Everything is covered on the backside, and I've been so impressed with the safety play. Jalen Hawkins, I know he's missed the last few games with the hamstring. Kyle Duggar. There were talks about, and during the preseason, that was he going to get cut? Stay with us, stay with the Patriots, making plays, starting at that safety position. He's a versatile player. Once he's locked in and understands the scheme and the system, nothing's happening. He's he's one of the best players. During the drought, he was making key game-changing plays. So now because it took some time for him to adjust to this defense, a different type of defense. But if he gets it going and then Hawkins comes back, I mean, the versatility there is going to be endless on the back end. Just get a couple more pass rushers. You could have something successful because 39 rushing yards allowed, so nothing's happening on the ground. So just the change of events from one year to the next, I've been very impressed. And just the way the execution, how everybody's prepared. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Everybody does exactly what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
All right, is Drake Maye in the MVP conversation? So we're entering week 8, first 7 weeks. Looking at the pool of potential MVP candidates going into, we're almost like around halfway through the season. Week 8, week 9, coming up soon. Do you agree with this? This is yes or no? Is he in this conversation?
Oh man, listen, the Patriot fanboy me will always say yes, but I think, objectively speaking, I would say he's on the outside looking in right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's, he's in a different stratosphere or anything like that. But, just looking at it, I think that there are people that I put ahead of him deservingly so. You can see what Baker's doing in Tampa without, I don't know, everybody. Mike Evans goes down with the hamstring, comes back for a cup of coffee, and then gets hurt Monday night. Godwin has basically been out the entire season. I think he's played like one game, maybe two. Boutte has been unbelievable. Obviously, yes for that. You got to throw Mahomes in, of course, although it looked a little slow at the beginning of the year, but they kind of seem to be back with Rice coming back, and Kelsey looks anew. And listen, I know it's a quarterback award, so there's really no point in talking about them, but Christian McCaffrey is literally the 49ers. It is the CMCers. He is the entire team. And then you want to talk about some shocking developments. This is not Peyton Manning's Colts, by the way. This is the Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes led. And listen, we're both in New York, so we saw how bad that was. the Colts, the Colts are the most efficient offense in NFL history. At this very moment, they are the most efficient offense in the history of, better than the 2007 Patriots. That's number 2 right now. If the season ended right now, the Colts would break the record for the most efficient offense in NFL history. That's disgusting. So, and listen, like I said, I know it's a quarterback award, so CMC doesn't really matter. But Jonathan Taylor has like 100 more rushing yards than the next closest person. And the only thing the guy does is score touchdowns. 3 touchdowns last week again. So, I mean, I think that's at least 4 people. I know, obviously, Drake Maye and the Patriots beat Josh Allen and the Bills, but let's be realistic here. Josh Allen is going to be in that conversation. I think he still is. He had a great start to the season. But Maye's right there. He is. I think if the numbers, at the end of the year obviously look a little bit prettier, then we'll have a more serious conversation. Eighth in the NFL in passing touchdowns, 8th in the NFL in passing yards, 1st in completion percentage. He does a little bit with his legs, nothing too crazy, but I think he does enough with his legs that it matters, to actually put it into the conversation. A 5-2 record, they're the number 2 seed in the AFC if things were to end right now. So, listen, I think that he's probably at the second table. You go to a wedding, it's kind of like the bride and groom, and then you got, the best men and the bridesmaids sit together. He's probably at the table with like your 1B, He's off with your boys. Like you got a couple, you got your 2 brothers, your 2 best friends as your groomsmen, and then you got your boys. He's probably sitting with them. But listen, a couple, if I met him a couple years earlier, would have been right in the party. So I think by the end of the year, we're going to have a different conversation, especially if they keep winning, because at the end of the day, it's a statistic-based award and a quarterback award, but wins go a long way, because you're not going to sit here and tell me if they don't end the season, 13-4, that all of a sudden you don't start looking at him as the MVP, especially because me and you, I think, understand the Patriot wide receiver room a little bit more. But people are going to start looking at it and that roster and being like, well, he did all that with Boutte as his wide receiver. Hunter Henry, the guy that was on the Chargers that was like, okay, that was always hurt. Austin Hooper, the Falcon dude. Diggs is the only name that I think a normal person in the NFL knows outside of Hunter Henry. I think people know Hunter Henry because of his time with the Chargers. Had a couple really great years there. But besides that, I think that's going to be another thing that kind of lifts up his power into getting the award. But right now, I think he's just on the outside looking in, just because I actually, and you know what? I didn't even mention another person, Dak. I know he kind of drops off in the second half of seasons. I think it's 3 straight games with 3 passing touchdowns. You're going to sit here and tell me that that's not an MVP candidate? He's playing unbelievable football. So I think there's a couple of people ahead of Drake Maye. Could that change in time? Of course it could. Everybody else could turn into a pumpkin the rest of the year, and Drake Maye can continue on, doing what he has to do. But right now, outside looking in, but it's nothing that's not obtainable.
I'm going to say yes. I just feel like the turnaround from his rookie season to the sophomore season, first year with Josh McDaniels in this offense, the people that you said that they're definitely in the conversation for sure. But if you look at what the team was doing last year and what they're doing right now, and it's based on his play, and you're telling me that the quarterback is the most valuable position. He has the numbers to definitely put himself in the conversation. Is he going to win? Only time will tell. There has to be certain checkpoints that he has to accomplish, like win the division, have to win the AFC East. Like if you're able to win the AFC East, when everyone had Buffalo win the division, probably Miami second. Most people had the Patriots third going into the season. So if you're able to create a new narrative based on how you play, based on the games being played. It puts you in that conversation for sure. So only time will tell. He has the numbers to be talked about for sure, and the turnaround and what it takes to be an MVP. It's just that he has to keep playing well, and they have to win the division. Have to win the division for sure, no question. And then from there, that really just depends on what they do every Sunday. These games are not going to be easy. Understanding that, yeah, just because it's a turnaround, everybody's going to want to try to get a W against New England. So you have to lock in. So the way he's playing, I'm very confident that it's going to continue because he has the right coaches around him, and the way the offensive line has been playing, his chemistry with the wide receivers are going to improve. I think it's if there was to do a ranking, I'd probably have him like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
5 or 6, yeah. And I think it's going to continue to grow. So we talk about the quarterback and how well Drake Maye is playing. Also have to discuss the playmakers and the people that are capitalizing off the playmaking from Maye. Kayshon Boutte is one of those guys. 39-yard touchdown in this game against the Titans. Had 2 touchdowns against the Saints. And then another touchdown in Miami. And we're in week 8. So if we just keep trending in this direction, you can see double-digit touchdowns for Kayshon Boutte. Like, it's inevitable because hands, and all the receivers they catch with their hands. It's no body catching. That, to me, like once I saw that early on, I just knew we were going to be successful. Because McDaniels, one thing McDaniels does do well is he gives you the answers right before the snap. So everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And if everyone's in the right place, you can make plays, you can get yards after the catch and go down the field. Now, if you're running the ball, play action, you see that from Kayshon Boutte going right down the field, going past the corner and the safety. Who knows what the communication was there? Not my problem. Tracking the football, that's a great catch. The focus, your fingertips, and then to bring it in, that's not easy. You know, that's extremely difficult. And yes, I believe he has all the traits, all the abilities to be a wide receiver 1, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's on the way, and like you said, it's the things that you don't really teach, because as much as wide receiver is obviously about catching the ball, I feel like the good ones aren't taught to catch with their hands in a weird way. You know, like you mentioned, the body catching and stuff like that. If you see a lot of body catching, I feel like you're having to teach them how to catch with their hands, and that's just not something that I feel like an elite wide receiver is going to have to be told to do, and he doesn't need to be. I mean, like you said, that play, you got some strong fingertips to catch that ball. Obviously, you know, you go look into the season, started off really well. He had 103 yards, you know, against the Raiders, and then, you know, the next few games kind of fell off. 16, 28, 18. You know, bounced back with 43 against the Bills, got up to 93 against the Saints 2 weeks ago with the 2 touchdowns, and then he has the touchdown this week with 55 yards. And I think as more attention goes to Diggs, you know, he's going to get more opportunities because I think people are obviously going to focus on him. But this is one of those situations too where I think having that veteran leadership in the building just helps him in his development and on his road to be a wide receiver 1. You always hear. I feel like you always hear about it with quarterbacks. Like, oh, you can go back to the Giants. It's great that Dart has, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to kind of teach him everything in the quarterback's room and coverages and this that. All of these positions are the same. Having that veteran and somebody who played at Diggs' level. Like, let's not mince words here. Diggs was a top 3 wide receiver for how many years when he was on the Bills? I mean, he was. I mean, you were having arguments of how high you were putting him. Some people had him. He might have been the best receiver in the league for a couple of those years with the Bills. He was great on the Vikings too. Obviously, I think broke out a little bit more with the Bills. Obviously he gets hurt last year, but was playing well. And then, returns from the injury at first, a little slow, but as you're expected. But I think that leadership is, and, just having someone to show you how to practice those routes and, just the little tips and tricks of how to get open and, your break off the line and high pointing a ball and, as stupid as it sounds, how to catch, things like that. I think that is what's really going to help him. So all the tools are there. Obviously, you have to see it for a little bit longer to sit here and say that he is a wide receiver 1, but can he be? Sure.
If he was getting the same amount of targets, the numbers would be the same. I mean, if he was getting 10, 11 targets every single game.
I mean, listen, he has 25 targets on the season and he has 20 catches. So when the ball's going his way, it's working.
This is what I'm saying. So over time, throughout the season, those targets are going to increase. It's going to create more plays. Yeah, and again, and in those catches, their first downs, key third downs, that back shoulder fade against the Saints last week. It's a big catch. On the road, you're in your home. This is where you're from, Louisiana, making a big play like that in front of your family, supporters. Not scared of the moment. Not scared of the moment. And when you develop confidence like that throughout the season, just think about week 12, 13. These guys stay healthy, they stay right and prepared. You're seeing a completely different type of player. So I already see what it takes. I'm watching the game, seeing what wide receiver 1s do over the course of NFL history. He has the quarterback, you have the offensive scheme, you have other players around him, so he doesn't necessarily have to always be doubled. So as time goes on, we will see. So I'm going to say yes.
Future's bright, and it's getting brighter by the week.
Another very impressive performance from the defense. Best rushing defense in the NFL. Nothing happens on the ground against the Patriots. Nothing happens. Tony Pollard's a pretty good running back. He's had some really good seasons in the NFL with the Cowboys. Made big plays in the NFC East. Was unable to really get it going. Anybody, no one. And when that happens, now you can solely focus on rookie quarterback. And yes, they're getting a favorable schedule, but they did a great job on the road in Buffalo against Josh Allen, getting a turnover, getting an interception in the red zone. Marcus Jones, again, just always around the football. It's a playmaker. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore in the inside, interior. When 2 of your best defensive linemen are in the interior of the D-line and going against the offensive linemen, the centers and the guards, and those are mismatches with their quickness, size. Milton Williams already has a championship, so Barmore is getting advice from a champion it's just perfect team building. Perfect team building. 25 years old. They're both under 30. They're the cornerstones of our defense because we need them in the trenches to be disruptive. And that's exactly what they do every single Sunday. And it's just when you go to the second level and third level, it makes it so much easier for everyone else. Just the way they built this team, the talent was there. The talent is there. I saw the talent before the season started, but ultimately you have to make the plays. And they've been making the plays every single week. You know, the rookie quarterback this week, and have a rookie quarterback on Sunday against the Browns. To me, it does not matter. You don't want any game highs, best game is others this season. You don't want any of that type of narrative shut down automatically. So they have just a little lapse early, and then once they communicate, you see what it takes to be dominant.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're giving up 19 points a game. So, I mean, when you're going to hold your opponent to under 20 points, you're obviously doing something very well. I think, like you mentioned, you look at those old Patriot teams, and they were always stout in the front four. Obviously, I think you remember Vince Wilfork the most just because of, his size and how good he was. And I'm not saying that anybody up front is him, but the combination is similar to the production that they were getting. And I think the only thing that the team is really missing is that dominant pass rusher. But I mean, listen, Micah Parsons and I can't think of his name. Who's the dude on the Lions? Oh, come on.
So Aiden Hutchinson.
There we go.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson's and Trey Hendrickson's, they're not falling out of the sky. So, you look to improve on that aspect of things because there's really two ways to play defense in the NFL, if we're being completely honest. There's getting to the quarterback before you can throw the ball if your secondary is terrible, or it's locking everybody down long enough for your underwhelming pass rush to get there. Now, if you can have the combination of getting to the quarterback very fast and having a lockdown quarters, well, congratulations, you're probably in the Super Bowl anyway. So those are kind of the two ways that you're going to end up playing defense in the NFL, is covering long enough or just having that dominant pass rush. You look at the Broncos, who have, it seems like everybody on that team can get a sack at any time. They're on pace to, I think they're still on pace to break the NFL record, by a team in a single season. They were on pace for like 82 or 83. The NFL record is like 72. So, they're doing it that way. And, they have Surtain in the back end, so that helps as well. But, Carlton Davis and Gonzalez are both, like you said, 6'1". They can make plays, no matter where you line them up. So I think if there's one thing that you want to really add to the team, it would be that pass rusher. But I'm not even sure that's a move that you make this year. I think that that's something you can look to address in the draft, or if somebody does become available and they just want to get out. I think every year everybody looks at Max Crosby just because of how bad the Raiders are, but he just signed a deal, so I doubt that they would do that. But hey, if I am the Patriots and all of a sudden Max Crosby comes out in a press conference and says, I got to get out of here. We just lost 31-0. What am I doing here? You start making some phone calls. It's malpractice if you don't. But the ceiling for the defense is to be one of the more dominant ones in the league, because I think you have all of the aspects to do it. And I believe that they're showing it so far. Granted, like I said, you're not playing the Chiefs every week. You're not playing, the Eagles every week, anything like that. But once again, the NFL puts the schedule together. The teams play them. So they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing against teams that they're supposed to be doing it against.
D-line is impressive. I have a lot of work to do, but I do see similarities. of Richard Seymour, Vincent Wilford, Ty Warren, a lot of those interior defensive linemen that we've had over the years. It's the right team building, and that's what they had at the middle. They had the linebacker position. Christian Ellis made a big play last week, that forced fumble. Splain has done a fantastic job at middle linebacker. Tobias came back a few games ago. He's been undefeated since he's came back at the linebacker spot. So not only are those linebackers, they're doing a good job when they're out there for the starting defense, they're also making plays in special teams as well. So you have legit starting linebackers on your special teams. So that makes your special teams even more dominant. And at that, and to get field position, that's exactly what you need on both ends of the football.
I don't know why I'm thinking about him right now. It was when you started naming interior linemen. Remember how bad Albert Hansworth was?
Yeah, that was a bad moment, bad signing. I thought he would be better.
Bro, the excitement I felt when we got Albert Hansworth, I was like, yo, this is it's so weird. It's like one of those players you play with in Madden all the time. So when you get him on your team, like, oh my God, I'm playing on rookie in Madden and he's so good. So he's going to be really good in real life too. That did not happen.
Yeah, it did not happen. And it's a Harold Landry, Milton Williams. Those were hits.
Yeah.
Those were the complete opposite of what happened with Hainsworth a few years ago. Craig Woodson is a rookie. He's starting strong safety for the Patriots. 4th round pick out of Cal. Just making it happen. Making big plays, 6'1". So you got 6'1" as your strong safety, then your 2 starting corners are 6'1". Kyle Duggar, when he's out, Kyle Duggar's 6'2". So you have versatility, physicality on every level. They haven't hit their peak yet right now, and I think that's great. You're not supposed to hit your peak at this point.
Nope.
But I just want to see more takeaways, and yes, get into the quarterback more often for sure.
Season starts after Thanksgiving, right? That was always the big saying.
So we really kind of already alluded to some potential needs. You feel like edge rusher, right? You think edge rusher is probably the primary acquisition that we need to look at?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you go to the edge rush position, and I wouldn't be upset at another wide receiver. We just talked about Boutte. I know potentially turning into number 1, and obviously we have Diggs, but you look at some of the names that potentially could be out there. I would love to bring Jakobi Meyers back to this team. I was disgusted when they even let him go. That was one of the ones that really annoyed me. I don't think it's going to happen, but the way that everybody keeps talking about AJ Brown, like I said, not going to happen. But that's one of those ones where if that has potential, you obviously pull the trigger on that one. So a couple of things out there, but pass rush, I would say, is the clear number 1 in edge rusher. And then from there, I think at a lesser value, unless it's a already known star, would be wide receiver. Like I said, I'm not looking to trade, first, second round picks for some wide receiver at this point, because I think that those are too valuable. But like I said, if somebody like a Jakobi Meyers is available, I think that's the level of person I pull the trigger on, because what you're looking at, a 5th round, 4th round pick, 6th round pick, somewhere in that area.
Talking about for next year?
Yeah, is it
like a next year draft pick?
Am I going to be hurt if they trade a 5th round pick for Jakobi Meyers? I would do that I would do that literally right now.
Right. Yeah, I think I lean towards more pass rush because it's always going to be a factor. These are great quarterbacks in the AFC, so you need defenders that can get to these great quarterbacks before they're able to throw the football down the field, because if you give them enough time, they're going to make plays. And then you have to have high IQ defensive linemen that could also contain quarterbacks, keep them in the pocket when you have Milton Williams and Barmore in the middle that could potentially also get to the quarterback in the interior. So you have to evaluate everyone that's available, that's on the trade block. The AJ Brown just paid to the Patriots, it just never made any sense to me from a logical standpoint. Why would the Eagles trade AJ Brown? That makes no sense. All he's asking for is the football. He's not asking for $50 million. He's just asking for more targets so he can change the game, similar to how we saw Jamar Chase change the game on Thursday Night Football for the Bengals. Like, look, we got 16 targets.
Too much.
It's too much what?
Too much to just deal with. I mean, this is the second year in a row where it's the same thing. Listen, at this point, you should know that the team is built off of running. Saquon just had a historic season last year. Now, this year is different because the Eagles have struggled to run the football. But, I mean, getting into arguments and, you know, players-only meetings and the cryptic little tweets and things. Like, I just wonder. Now, listen, I don't think it's going to happen either, like you said. But that fantasy world where it does, and the love that he has for Vrabel and how Vrabel reciprocates it, I'm just saying, obviously, if that becomes available, that's the one situation where I'm like, all right, a second round pick. Yeah. See you later.
If that situation ever presented itself, maybe, but I really don't. For Philadelphia, just give him the football. I don't understand. When he has the football, he gets yards after catch. DBs can't tackle him. He breaks tackles. His game is similar to Terrell Owens. It really is. His play style.
Very physical.
Contested catches. He's just asking for the football. The run game is not there. And start to throw the football down the field. So the AJ Brown, the Patriots, Jacoby Myers, I really like our group. I really like the group that the Patriots have right now. Honestly, they all make plays. They make great catches, key catches throughout the entire season so far. It's not just easy 1-2 step catch hitch. They just run up the field. You know, like going down the field, making plays in the zone, beating man coverage, beating zone coverage. And then the tight end position as well. Like I also consider them in the receiving way. So I think we have some great receivers on the roster. If we could add one, cool. But I look more at that running back. There's someone at the running back spot. Ramondre's has done better, locked in, understanding. You know, the Patriots need Ramondre's team in terms of pass protection, and when he has great run carrier vision. He can see lanes. He can get between the tackles and make plays, get first downs. He's not necessarily a home run threat with the speed, but he can get down the field, move the chains. As long as he protects the football, he's a factor. So I just feel like you add maybe one more piece in that running back spot, because right now Henderson hasn't really made that many plays yet, and that's not to say I feel like it's going to happen soon.
Yeah, it's going to happen soon. Be a much bigger. I thought he was going to factor much more into this offense than what he has so far, but
not soon. So, like I said, it's still a lot of football left. He's definitely going to make some plays. I see it happening for sure. But yeah, maybe one more running back, like a power back, and maybe a power back, maybe someone that can also help in the special teams as well. You see, they got Chisholm back there now after Antonio Gibson got hurt. I like that for Chisholm just to get some activity and
like
be able
that
to play as a
Brandon
rookie.
Bolden type almost.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Gibson was. Gibson was that Brandon Bolden player archetype, Patriots player archetype for New England. But that'd be a good pickup.
Screw it. Get James Devlin out of retirement.
James Devlin.
Give me a little fullback dive.
Looking at the landscape of the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills had a bye week for week 7. Miami Dolphins lost to the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Jets lost to the Carolina Panthers. We're able to see some highlights from these 2 games, and what's been your thoughts on the Bills, Dolphins, and the Jets?
Well, I mean, we all know it's a 2-person race at this point. It's a ticking time bomb to when Mike McDaniels is going to get fired. The Jets might be the first 0-17 team ever, because obviously we added that one extra game a couple years ago, so everybody's 0-16. Need that first 0-17. I mean, they are pathetic. The Jets and the Dolphins are literally pathetic. So you take them out of the equation, you chalk them up to hopefully 2 more wins on the Patriots schedule. Actually, they haven't even played the Jets yet, so 3 more wins on the Patriots schedule, because they got to play the Jets twice, right? I'm not yeah, so you got 2 wins against the Jets, another one against the Dolphins, hopefully. And you get the Bills at home. You're in a real good spot for this division. You're kind of controlling your own destiny at this point. So as long as the Patriots don't stumble, everybody should be looking up at them. We all know that the Bills are a very good team. Bye week, rest a little bit, get healthy. They'll get players back, during the rest of this season. So I think right now it's just continue to play how you're playing. Bills, I know, have the Chiefs coming up as well, so you kind of hope that the Chiefs can get them like they usually do in the postseason, but in the regular season, the Bills usually get them. So, like I said, the Patriots are in the driver's seat. You play good football the rest of the year, you're winning this division. Because, like I said, you should have at least a guaranteed 3 wins against the Dolphins and the Jets. And then you get the Bills at home because they already beat them in Buffalo. So this is a promising outlook on the AFC right now, and it just annoys me even more that they're 5-2, because I thought, I mean, listen, it's the first game of the season, but I had that Raider game listed as a win all off season, but then they had to go out and actually play. But everything's looking good right now. Driver's seat. Just play good football and hang another, division banner that to us Patriot fans means nothing. We're like Super Bowls.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills, they had the bye week. I think for them, they should probably look towards trying to get another wide receiver at the trade deadline. There's someone that can make plays down the field consistently, because you saw it in the game when they played the Patriots, also when they played the Falcons. It was just, they had to have long drives, gradual drives, converting on 3rd and 6+, 7+, and that's not necessarily sustainable. Yeah, you have an MVP in Josh Allen, but you need players on the outside that could push the ball down the field, make plays, change the game, and shift the defense because of what they do on the field. They have some good players, but they don't really have a true wide receiver one. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that at the trade deadline, but could you just add another piece that could just help just add more production to that wide receiver spot, because it just looks like they need another piece over there for the Bills. Defensively, they gave Bijan Robinson had a great game, so
yeah, they can't definitely stop the run to save their life.
Yeah, something's have to give with the defense as well. So I think the bye week was very necessary for the Bills. They definitely needed that bye week to get back on track mentally, physically, and we'll see how they play against the Carolina Panthers on the road on Sunday. Miami Dolphins. It's gone really bad. you got Tua calling out his teammates as opposed to just going to his teammates and telling them personally. I mean, you work at the same place. If you're going to hold somebody accountable, just tell them to their face. You guys work together. You're supposed to be the captain. You say it in a respectful way. It doesn't always have to be confrontational when those situations occur. It doesn't always have to be that way. So no one's perfect, but this play on the field hasn't been great. Tyreek Hill got hurt earlier in the season. Waddle got the bag, but hasn't really been producing like many has expected. First couple of years was really good. So far, it hasn't really been able to get any traction and get it going. And a lot of that has to do with the play of Tua Tagovailoa. It's just they gave him $200 million. I never saw a game changer. Just the way he played, I never saw it. So they got to figure some things out over there in Miami. I don't know. You could say regime change, but then whoever you bring in, they have to be committed to Tua, because he's there for at least a few more years contractually. That's they had their window as well to try to make some moves and get in the AFC mix while Buffalo was at the top. They were really unsuccessful. So looking like a potential. Yeah, I see a regime change for sure down the road. I don't know if it's going to be in the middle of the season. It really just depends on how their season plays out. They start losing some more. I don't know what happens. We already saw one coach get fired in Callahan. So anything is possible. Same thing for the Jets. Right, 0-7. Just the offense is just really non-existent. Nothing happens. I feel bad for Garrett Wilson in some sense. You take the bag. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. You got people in New York media talking about, oh, you can't complain if you took the money. Like, what do you mean? You offer me generational wealth. I'm supposed to turn that down because I'm expecting the team to play better. It makes no sense. It's two completely different things. The media, they like to group it together, but it makes no sense. Like, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. Trying to take care of my family, and I still want to win. Of course, I'm going to speak out and say, I don't like the way it's being played. It has nothing to do with the contract. So the media likes to give me
millions. If they want to give me millions of dollars, I'll go play wide receiver and go 0-17 every season. I won't complain one bit.
Obviously, yeah. Their mentality is different. Like, they have some good players, but I don't know what's their identity? You don't really know what their identity is.
What Johnson said today? Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
Oh my God. He was like, they were asking about the confidence in Aaron Glenn. He was like, "Yeah, I obviously still do. I don't know what you would, really expect with a quarterback like ours or something along those lines." Saying, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the coach uh, when we have play from our quarterback position the way that it has been. Just, I mean, you want to talk about airing out your player.
Yeah, that's just. I got to go back and watch that, check that out, but it just doesn't. This doesn't. It's not the right way to be communicating, especially with the record that you have. So, Aaron Glenn, you just has to continue to just be a great teacher, do your job literally, and at the quarterback position, you're gonna have seasons like this where you're gonna have a bad season, and we'll see what they do with the draft and who's gonna be available. That's ultimately what it's gonna come down to, and this is what they needed. They had it with Zach Wilson, Darnold. You went 0 for 2. You have to continue to try until you find one, and looking like in 2026, that's going to be what their goal will be. Week 8 preview, Cleveland Browns. What's your thoughts on this game? What's your thoughts on the Browns and what you've seen from Cleveland so far?
This is a game, another one that you're just gonna have to win. 2-5 on the season, as you can see, up on your screen, and these are the situations where give whatever split to Brady and Belichick you want to do. I'm not getting into that conversation, but this is one of those games where, as a Patriot fan, when Bill was the coach, you knew one thing was going to happen, and it was that Myles Garrett wasn't going to beat you. And I think that is exactly what needs to happen in this one. I think you just have to pull something out of the good old Bill Belichick coaching handbook. I don't care if he's doubled, chipped with the tight end, chipped with the running back coming out of the backfield. You can't let Myles Garrett beat you. If somebody else does, you tip your cap, you sleep good at night and say, you know what, they just had a better game plan. But if Myles Garrett is going to, wreak havoc, then that's just bad coaching. And thankfully, I don't think that is what is going to happen. And then, of course, the Patriot offense has to show up. The Browns, solid defense. Like I just mentioned with Myles Garrett. So the Patriots are going to have to put points on the board. Diggs is going to have a good game. Going to have to get the running game going as per usual. And then you slide over to, kind of vice versa everything. You got a rookie quarterback. It's his third game. So the Patriots, try and confuse him. Maybe use some exotic looks, blitz, fake the blitz, look man, drop into zone, those type of things, because when you have that rookie quarterback's another thing. When Bill was the coach, you always felt confident no matter how good of a rookie season that person was having, that going against a rookie quarterback, they were cooked. There was just no chance. So those are the two things that I think just have to happen in this one, because if somehow the Patriots were to lose this game and Myles Garrett was the reason, I'll be sick. Or if Dylan Gabriel, throws all over, I would also be sick, because I think those are two things that you can very easily adjust to, with, like I said, chipping Garrett with the tight end or a running back coming out of the backfield. And then for Dylan Gabriel, there's just not a lot of weapons on the team as there is. So for him to have a big game, I think it would just have to be a defensive breakdown, and I just don't see that happening. So I expect another Patriot win here. Maybe not the highest scoring game, because I will give a lot of credit to that Browns defense, but definitely something that I shouldn't be sweating about when I'm watching this game.
This is a very important game for the Patriots to be able to get this win at home. They're 1-2 at home right now. They've done a great job on the road. But to become an elite team, to consider yourself one of the best teams in the conference, in the league, you have to win at home. So these next few games are going to be in Foxborough. And I'm expecting the Patriots to set the tone early on all three phases of the game. Against Cleveland, primary goal for the defense. It's going to be the primary goal every Sunday is to stop the run. Kayshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns against the Dolphins. You can't allow that to occur for Cleveland if you're the Patriots defense. Majority of those plays were splash plays. He had that big run, like that 40-yard run, and then he had another really solid run with 20+ rushes. So just have to be able to tackle, gain tackle, fill the gaps. They have a great D-line. The Patriots have a really good D-line as well. And going up against another rookie quarterback, just disrupt the timing. Rookie quarterbacks, they want to be on time, because when they're on time, they're able to get into a rhythm and get it going. So if you disrupt the timing, something that they're not used to throughout the game, that could lead to turnovers. Dillon Gabriel, he's a rookie quarterback. He's only played a few games in the regular season for the Cleveland Browns. The game plan when he first went out there his second game was to throw the ball 52 times. They kind of dialed it back 16 times against the Miami Dolphins. So they're going to want to try to play complementary football, have him be more of a use off the play action, rolling out, bootleg, stuff like that. If he's just in the pocket, it's going to be tough. Expect the Patriots D-line to get a lot of pass deflections. Put your hands up when the ball's in the air, because he is a shorter quarterback. So you're going to have those opportunities to put your hand up and disrupt those passes. If you really lock in, the ball's in the air, football's in the air, like you could be able to get a pick, get an interception, change the game, similar to how we saw Kayshon do that. just the football just available, and they made the play. So I expect that to happen in this game against the Cleveland Browns. They're going to play with a lot of momentum, that underdog mentality. Many people aren't expecting them to win this game, but they do have some really good players. But again, I think this defense, the primary focus is stopping Judkins, getting this offense in the 3rd and 8+, and being able to, with the Patriots' ability to cover Milton Williams, Landry, Kayshon, Christian Barmore, they're able to get to the quarterback and make things happen. Set up some really good field position for the Patriots offense. Myles Garrett's obviously someone that you're going to be focused in on. He could be on any different parts of the offensive line. People are going to favor the left side because of the rookie Campbell and the rookie Wilson. They're going to try to put their best pass rusher on that side, but they're going to be in for, they're so far this season, they've been in for a surprise. Like, it's just not happening. Will Campbell's done a fantastic job at left tackle, Jared Wilson at left guard, both coming from the SEC. So the preparation is there. They've seen elite pass rushers their entire collegiate career, well coached. Brian Kelly, Kirby Smart. So now just going into Mike Vrabel, they understand what they need to do. They're very athletic on that left side. That's the future of the offense for New England, along with Drake Maye. They're gonna put Garrett over there. Cool. We'll see what happens. That's gonna be the matchup that everybody will be looking at for Cleveland. They have some good defenders. They got Newsom. Tyson Campbell had a pick six against the Dolphins. He's like an athletic, really tall corner, similar to Gonzalez and Davis. But I expect this offense, Jim Schwartz, he likes to play a lot of man coverage and blitz. So Drake May is going to have to do a good job of identifying the blitz, getting the football out hot, making sure you're getting it to the right guy in position, because I believe the Patriots, they have receivers that could get open and get separation. So if you're throwing the ball in time off the blitz and you put it in the right positions, they can get yards after the catch. I think a lot of questions will be answered every week. We'll see how great this wide receiver group is on Sunday. So I like the Patriots to win this game by 2 possessions.
That should be the outcome. I think if everything continues the way that it should, this, like I said, this is not a game I should be sweating at the end.
All right, that concludes the end of the show. Forever Patriots, episode 2. Ani, man, where can the people find you, brother?
You know, these days, Anthony Conover, I think _ is still my Twitter. I do have another show called Taking Action with Chris Colombo over there on YouTube. Hit 10,000 subs a few weeks ago, I want to say. So, if you're into the gambling aspect of things, make sure you go check that out. Episodes drop every Wednesday at 3 Eastern over there on YouTube. So check it out. Pick of the week is always made available if you subscribe to us on Juice Reel, so you can see exactly when our bet goes live. And it's always a pleasure, brother. I've missed it.
Sure, bro. Find me on X, cjames9_. Forever Patriots on Facebook. Forever Pats _ on IG. Forever.Patriots on TikTok. And then also on X is Forever Pats 6. So follow all those socials, guys. A lot more content coming out on all those platforms. Just dropped the Week 7 recap on the IG page, also on TikTok. So if you're on those apps, just drop a like, drop a repost. It means a lot. Appreciate the support. You guys have a great week. Take care.